Insulin is one of the most important hormones in the human body, and also one of the most misunderstood. When we talk about belly fat, a sluggish metabolism, low energy, and even brain fog, insulin is almost always at the center of the problem. This hormone acts like a conductor, orchestrating where the nutrients you eat will go. It decides whether your food will be burned for immediate energy or stored away as fat for later. Now imagine this. Without insulin, even if someone ate large amounts of food, the body wouldn't be able to store it as fat. That's why people with type 1 diabetes who lack insulin need immediate replacement therapy. On the other hand, when insulin levels are too high, the opposite happens. The body begins to store fat almost automatically. It's as if just looking at food could make you gain weight. In a healthy system, insulin works like a key that unlocks the cell. Once it binds to the receptor, special transporters called glycolate-4 rise to the cell surface. They act like straws, pulling glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cell. This lowers blood sugar and fuels the cell with energy. But when the system stops responding properly, or when the body becomes accustomed to constantly high insulin, the process begins to break down. That's when we enter the territory of insulin resistance. With insulin resistance, the body must produce more and more of this hormone to achieve the same result. What once required a small amount of insulin now requires several times more. Imagine a lock that no longer opens with just one key. Now you need to jam 5 keys into it at the same time just to get it to turn. That's what's happening at the cellular level. This overload forces the pancreas to work overtime, releasing enormous amounts of insulin. And the biggest trigger for this imbalance? Processed carbohydrates. Refined bread, pasta, cookies, sugary snacks. All of them demand massive spikes of insulin. The more you eat them, the more your body gets stuck in this constant high insulin state. The result is abdominal fat, a slowed down metabolism, and mental fatigue. But the damage doesn't stop there. When insulin levels stay too high, the liver steps in. It converts excess glucose into triglycerides, fat molecules that flood the bloodstream. This not only leads to weight gain, but also raises blood fat levels, which increases cardiovascular risk. Meanwhile, the mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside each cell, start to break down. Instead of producing clean energy, they waste fuel, speeding up the aging of your cells. It's like a full-blown metabolic storm, sugar piling up in the blood, cells starving for fuel, the liver pumping out fat, and mitochondria burning out. That's the chaos of insulin resistance. Think about how it progresses. At first, one molecule of insulin could activate a receptor. Later, it takes 5. If only 4 bind, the receptors won't respond. The glucose remains trapped in the blood, while the cell is still desperate for energy. It's like the cell has grown used to a loud shout, and when the voice is softer, it simply ignores it. As a result, blood sugar keeps climbing, and the body desperately converts it into fat to protect itself. But here's the good news. There's a way out. The first step is to reduce carbohydrate intake, especially refined ones. Lower carbs mean lower glucose, which means lower insulin. In the first few days, the cells may struggle because they're addicted to those constant insulin spikes. They cry out for fuel, but glucose is no longer pouring in. And then something incredible happens. The body begins to produce ketones. Ketones are a clean, powerful fuel made from fat. They easily cross into the brain, the heart, and the muscles, feeding the body in place of glucose. This is the state known as ketosis, when the body shifts from running on sugar to running on fat. And once this switch happens, stored fat finally begins to be released and used for energy. The impact of this shift is massive. With insulin lowered and ketones circulating, cells function more efficiently. Belly fat starts to shrink. The brain clears up, with mental fog lifting day by day. And the metabolism, once sluggish and lazy, slowly wakes up and begins to fire again. These benefits often appear within just a few weeks on a ketogenic or low-carb lifestyle. And here's the real transformation. During all those years of high insulin, fat cells were stuffed full of triglycerides but unable to release them. Now, with insulin levels down, the doors finally open. The fat that was locked away becomes fuel again. It's like hidden energy vaults are being unlocked, powering your body with its own reserves. This isn't just about losing weight. It's about restoring metabolic health, giving energy back to your cells, and reclaiming vitality. The human body was designed to switch between times of plenty and times of scarcity. But the modern diet, overloaded with refined carbs, traps us in a state of constant insulin overload. By regaining control of this hormone, it's possible to reverse the cycle and rebuild health from the inside out. Insulin can be your greatest ally when it is in balance, but it can also become your silent enemy when it is not. Now that you understand how insulin resistance develops and how it can be reversed, support this channel by hitting the like button and subscribing so you don't miss the next videos. Here, you'll uncover even more hidden secrets about the human body, health, and longevity.